All right, welcome in. My name's Rob Calabro, and I'm going to be bringing you a quick market update for early summer here in Central Ohio. One thing I want to let you know before we dive into the numbers is things are evolving a little bit here in the marketplace. We are still in a very strong seller's market, but I'm going to show you how some of the things have changed over the last couple of months. And I just want to point out that because as we look at the market today, now more than ever, we need to really be in tune with what's happening on a hyper local level, not just the numbers for all of Columbus, but the numbers for your specific area and your specific neighborhood are going to change some of the decisions that you might want to be making as you're thinking about real estate. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so what you're looking at here on the screen is the market update for the month of May 2022. There's a few things I want to point out. The first thing I'm going to do is start out with absorption rates, which is the number we always look at first. Absorption rates are down 11% year over year for the month of May. But if we take a look at our chart of trajectory of absorption rates, we are actually up slightly over the last couple of months. So year over year, absorption rates are better than they were this time last year, but month over month, the absorption rates are climbing, which that's a good thing for home buyers because the lower the absorption rate, the stronger the seller's market is, the more competitive the market is for buyers. Now, let's be clear. It's still a very, very strong seller's market, but it's maybe some slight relief for those who are looking to purchase a property. The other thing on this note that I would like to point out is the list price to sales price ratio. April peaked at around 104%, or a little bit over that. And it has come back down a little bit in May. So still well over 100% list price to sales price ratio, but it did come back down. And what's interesting is last year, the list price to sales price ratio peaked in May, not in April, which that is probably driven by some of the interest rate increases that we've seen over the last couple of months. Okay, so I want to talk about showing demand briefly. Showing demand month over month is down over 20%, almost 23%. Now, as I mentioned the last video, that could be in part driven by the limited number of listings that we have in the marketplace. But I wanted to point something out. For the month of May 2022, we had a little over 4,000 new listings put on the marketplace in Central Ohio. If we go back and take a look at April of 2022, the previous month, we had 3,816 new listings added to the marketplace. So we had less new listings added in April, but we had 23% more showings occur in the month of April than we did in the month of May. That to me is an indicator that we are that demand is sliding downward based on the interest rates. So buyers are seeing that it costs more to purchase a home now than it did previously, and they are pulling back a little bit on their desire or their demand to go out and buy a property. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we've got to really pay attention to this in a hyper local way because we are seeing every day very, very high demand for individual listing properties. So we're looking at the showing demand as an aggregate, as a whole market in Central Ohio, but you may not notice it at all depending on where you live, the type of property you have, because we are still seeing extremely high levels of demand. And it's my speculation that even though we are seeing a slight slowdown, and I expect that trajectory to continue into the fall because that is traditional that we have a slowdown in the fall in Central Ohio anyways. Couple that with higher interest rates and it makes sense. But I do not foresee us shifting away from a seller's market anytime in the near future because we have such a high level of demand for housing and there's just not enough supply of housing in the marketplace. So hope, that could change if interest rates do something, unbelievable, like go up way, way higher. Of course, that's going to have a totally different impact, but hopefully they remain steady or only increase a little bit. And that should put us in a more of a closer to a balanced market, but probably still a seller's market going forward, I would say, throughout the remainder of this year. Obviously, that's only a prediction, but it is based on the numbers and the trajectories that we're seeing. So before I end the video, other things I'll point out: average sales price is still up significantly, 15.9% year over year. That is a great thing for home sellers to pay attention to. But one last tidbit for buyers: number of new listings has been increasing, and I expect that to continue to increase over the next 2 to 3 months, with typically supply of inventory peaking in August or September. So if you are a buyer, absolutely be looking in the marketplace, of course, paying attention to your costs to buy a property, but now is the time because you could see a little bit of less competition than you had seen over the last few months. So that is the early summer update. Stay tuned for our next one, and I appreciate you watching this video.